There's a sign-in sheet in the back by the t-shirts. If you are interested in receiving the PowerPoint presentation that Dr. Pody showed via email, just sign your name and we'll get those to you this week. Also, I want to let you know that this event is being tweeted live, and the hashtag is Shatter the Stigma. Hashtag Shatter the Stigma. So if you have a Twitter account, follow and retweet as many to all of your people as possible. Yes?
Would you be able to include your letter?
It's a work in progress. I will finish it soon, and I'll also send it out with the PowerPoint. But thank you. Yes, I didn't think it was going to have that. It's one of those Vicente things. And so we have an incredible panel, and I'd like to have them come up as I read their bio. The first person is Kyle Moon. And so he's a young man in recovery from his drug addiction. He continuously works to turn his life in a positive direction. Today he serves as a role model to other young people in recovery. He has worked as a recovery coach and affiliates himself with associations that aspire the positive value of living in recovery. Well, incidentally, just came from the graduation of the Recovery High School in Worcester, which is the only one that we have in this area that has graduated. Our next panelist is Michelle Dunn. Michelle Dunn is the founder and president of the A.E.D. Foundation. A.E.D. stands for Assist, Educate, and Defeat, but it is also named after her daughter, Alyssa E. Dunn, who passed away from an overdose 3 years ago. Alyssa struggled with substance use disorder for several years before it took her life. As Michelle says, Alyssa was the strongest person she knew. Alyssa and Michelle wanted to help others fighting the disease of addiction, and after Alyssa died, Michelle, along with a core group of friends, created a nonprofit foundation. One year ago, the A.E.D. Foundation opened Alyssa's Place, a peer recovery resource center located in Gardner. Michelle was instrumental in bringing a Learn to Cope chapter to Haywood Hospital that meets every Tuesday evening. She also started a GRASP group, which is a grief support group for those who have lost a loved one to substance use disorder. And last but by no means least, Marianne Frangoulis is nationally known for her leadership, advocacy, and for promoting access to effective treatment by educating the public and policymakers about the importance of recovery and the effectiveness of treatment. Under her leadership, MORE, M-O-A-R, Mass Organization for Addiction Recovery, has increased its membership over 600% and is known as a resource for advocacy, education, and for providing opportunities to become involved with the recovery community. She has been on the board of the National Faces and Voices of Recovery, spreading the word about the value of recovery. Ms. Frangoulis has received many awards and recognitions for her outstanding leadership and contributions to promoting the value of recovery to the public and her efforts to reduce the discrimination and stigma associated with addiction. After the panel, if anyone has any questions, we have a microphone in that aisle, and so I will ask people to just line up, and I will moderate the time to make sure that people have enough time to give a short question to the panels. And so, take it away.
All right, so I'm Kyle Moon. I'm a person in long-term recovery. For me, that means that I haven't used a drink or a drug in over three years and 2 months now. That allows me to be many things, you know, but some of the most important to me, I'm able to be a son, I'm able to be a brother, I'm able to be a friend, I'm able to be like an employee today, you know, and those are things that like, I never thought that I was ever any good at and was never going to get any better at, you know, and today, due to the gifts of recovery, I'm able to be a better person every day, you know. Like Vicente said, I do a lot of work around the state of Massachusetts in regards to substance abuse. I like to focus on like young adults because like I'm young and I'm sober, you know, and I understand the struggles, and I can like uniquely identify with that population, I feel. And it's amazing to watch young people grow. You know, most of the stigmas that I had were in my own head. You know, if you had talked to me a year ago, like, and don't get me wrong, this panel is amazing, but I wouldn't have been qualified. You know, I wouldn't have been qualified to be up here. You know, I wouldn't have been qualified to be anywhere. You know, and through recovery, like, I found a self-worth that's priceless today. You know, I'm qualified in every situation that I'm in. You know, and that's an amazing feeling. You know, I'm able to walk into a room and know that I have like value. You know, and some of the other challenges in regards to stigma, I think that's what we're talking about, is like stigma, right? And one that I'm like uniquely familiar with is like criminal justice stigma. You know, I didn't get into recovery at 22 years old because like I was doing everything right. You know, and it turns out as a young adult, like, you know, a quarry is actually a hard thing to overcome. You know, and what paper says is not who I am today. You know, and I have to deal with that every day for the rest of my life. But, you know, due to recovery and through the positivity that I get from my support network, I'm able to overcome those challenges. You know, and it's not always easy, but it's worth looking at. You know, if we're talking about stigma and the bigger problem of addiction, I think quarry reform is a huge thing that we need to look at. You know, and how we address that with the population. You know, just because, you know, I'm a felon doesn't mean I'm a bad person. You know, and being in recovery has allowed me to not be a bad person. You know, it's amazing. You know, the gifts that I've been giving as recovery is like Vicente said. Like, I'm able to show up today. You know, I went to a CHIP planning meeting in Worcester to talk about public health in Worcester County, and then like I went to the recovery high school, and then like I came out here. You know, and that was like after 3 o'clock. I can't even tell you what else I did all day. You know, and like I'm able to show up for life today. You know, and that's stuff that I wasn't able to do. And that's not what my quarry says. You know, my quarry says that like I'm a degenerate loser. You know, and that's not who I am today. You know, and that's as a gift of recovery. And like we need to look at that type of stuff more deeply, because I feel like there have been great strides made in that department, but I personally haven't seen it work in my life, and I can't imagine how other addict alcoholics who are in recovery feel about that. And I actually know quite a few, and like they feel the same way I do. You know, and it's very troublesome to see that a young person can get their life together, and because of stuff like that, they're not able to reach their full potential. You know, and that's one stigma that I see. That's huge. You know, but just as important, as I already said, you know, the stigma that we put on ourselves as being a person in recovery. You know, all the shame, guilt, and remorse that we feel. You know, we need to move past that to become who we were meant to be. You know, and with the help of great organizations and the people that I'm surrounded by, like, we can do that. You know, that's pretty much all I got. Decent, man.
Does this work? Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that we had to actually speak. I thought people were just going to ask us questions. So I'm really unprepared for this. But stigma for me came in, was a family stigma. We found out that our daughter was addicted, Alyssa, when she was in her senior year in high school. For us and for her, it started out with drinking, smoking marijuana, and then on to prescription pills, and then finally heroin. And I have to say, you know, we live in Gardner. We're very active in our community. My husband coached basketball, soccer, you name it. You know, he was involved with that. And as a family, back in 2010, we didn't talk about it. You know, I didn't tell my parents forever. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think I'm a really bad parent. And I really started to think that I was a really bad parent, that, like, my goodness, how does this happen to our children, to my child? You know, she was an A student, athletic, beautiful, and I had the idea that I had the stigma that a person who was a heroin addict was a homeless person on the street. Kind of shady. You want to stay away from them. You might see them downtown Fitchburg or Gardner. And I was so wrong. Nobody would have ever known that my daughter was addicted. When she rolled up, she rolled in Uggs and Abercrombie and Fitch and Coach bags, because we were fortunate enough to be able to provide some nice things like that for her. And I didn't know enough about addiction. I became very educated very quickly, and it was very hard to talk about it to people. not only in my family, but in our community. And we probably didn't talk a whole lot about it until she died. And when she died, we kind of took the stance that, you know what, we're not going to be silent anymore. And not that we kept it under wraps, but it didn't seem that it was talked a lot about then. My close friends knew, my family knew eventually. But we kind of thought we had it under control too, like, we're going to do detox and we're good. Like, woo, she's back, she's doing awesome, she looks great, she's happy, she's, you know, until the next day. You know, and this cycle went on from 2010 until she lost her life in 2013 at the age of 20. And when Vicente read, you know, my bio, my daughter was the strongest person I knew. She woke up every day fighting this disease. And I really wish I knew more then, like I do now. But what I have found is on my path to recovery, because I also think that people that, it's a family disease, and people that are affected by children or loved ones who are sick, you have to do self-care, you have to be on your road to recovery as well. And I've been so fortunate to meet so many people on my journey. Many of the people that have stayed in my lives or people that, in my life, have been people that my daughter met in recovery programs. They check in with me, how you doing? They check in on the anniversary of her death, her birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you name it. Solid people doing the right thing, most with Corey's, most of the time. And I just am at the point that, you know what, there shouldn't be a stigma. This is ridiculous. Like the doctor said, is that, you know, if you had a heart condition, you know, you had diabetes, you'd be treated so much differently. And I hope that by us speaking out collectively as a community, that things will change for the future. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. I was going to say I need to be heard. I don't need anything. I just need to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Vicente. And it's great. And Vicente's part of luck. I feel lucky to be here and to have heard Dr. Cote. And it's so wonderful to have a doctor such as Dr. Cote speaking up about what is good effective treatment, and the whole aspect of the brain, and how we get addicted, and how we can get into recovery, and that we need more pathways to it, and need it to be recognized. And Kyle I've known him now for a few years, and I'm just so happy to be with him and feel his recovery. And Michelle is a strong woman like her daughter. Thank you for establishing the A.E.D. Foundation and helping so many other parents. And I know for myself, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and when I got into recovery, that was in the early 80s, and I think of myself and I think of the peer pressure that people talk about now. Well, back then, I was on the bus with my friend Susan, who I had graduated college, and we both wanted to lose weight, and she said, do you want these diet pills? And that was a little thing that was called speed, and I got speedy. It made me like talk faster, move faster, but it didn't do much for me. It caused an addiction, and I did get help. But I also want to tell you, at one point in time, that insurance used to pay for 30 and 60, 90 days of inpatient. And that's part of the reason we started more. Part of my recovery was working in the treatment field, and I loved it, and then one day it happened, and I don't know how it happened, but I turned around, and the patients were saying to me, Mary Ann, the insurance company's not paying my bills. And I didn't know anything about business administration. I didn't know about insurance. All I knew was that people signed the dotted line and that they were covered. And then, lo and behold, I found out, and then I got this called, and because nobody else was calling. So I said, I want to know why the insurance isn't covering. And they said, you don't have a contract in your clinic. And I'm like, a contract? What's a contract? You have to have a contract to do treatment? This is how the evolution of all of this like started back then, but it opened my eyes as we started to band together and develop what was more back then and work together. And then I learned about that 80% of the people in the prison system are there with alcohol and other drug-related reasons. I learned about how that affects you in your life. And I'm talking, this was 1990, it's 2015. And changes are being made. But these changes, I have another, Dr. Coutet has lovely, lovely slides. I have one that shows that there was syndicated treatment back in the 1890s. It was called the Keeley League. And then they used 1890s language, and it said that, excuse this expression, the drunkard needs medical treatment, not penal treatment. And I say to myself, what are the issues that we're working on today? There is some headway, but as someone that's a legislator said to me, we have to keep the fire burning because people forget. We forget. We start feeling good and we don't think that we need to have a voice. Well, part of what got me going was, you got a voice, and we all have a voice. Everyone in this room has the power to make change, and you are. One thing that's happening right now is that the irony is that before our state legislature, and thank God in this area you have Senator Jennifer Flanagan, who is not shy and doing some wonderful things at the State House, but we could stand to lose $5 million worth of 10 different treatment projects that were suggested through the opioid task force and have now been 3-5 years in progress. And I don't know how that could get on the chopping block. The Senate put in language, when I say language, they're words that would allow for that to say. But right now you have an opportunity to speak up and ask your legislators, and if you are from this area, you have Senator Flanagan, she knows, but a thank you doesn't hurt, to be able to say that I want to maintain the Substance Abuse Trust Fund as funded to be able to preserve these treatments. I can't believe that we're saying that that addiction is so important and we get a cut. So it's an investment, and we want to have not just treatment, but quality treatment. We want to speak up and keep the recovery support services that are alive right now. As you just heard, that Kyle is a recovery coach, a peer helping a peer that learns the ethics and the guidance that needs to be able to happen to help people at that level to talk the language. There is power in our voice. There's also the opportunity. Last year, 2 years ago, and I'll never forget this, as we brought into the State House people in recovery and family members, and we just blew the legislators away that day, and as I said, you got to keep the fire burning, and that helped. It was one little episode along the way that helped to pass it so that insurance is supposed to cover, now, it doesn't always, but it's supposed to cover 14 days worth of treatment. There is a bill out there that's passing through the State House that will allow for 28 days that will give that decision to the treatment provider, not the insurance company. Do we want that to happen, brothers and sisters? How we make it happen is through our voices, and that is how we're going to shatter the stigma. Yes. Right? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, if anyone has any questions, you can line up here, and you can direct your question at either of the panelists, or if it's just a general question for one panelist, then I'll keep this up. Is anyone? Yeah, yes.
Hello. Okay. Hi. First I want to say that I wanted to thank you guys all for coming and speaking on this panel. I really appreciate it. I am an aftercare coordinator for the Highland Grace House in Worcester. We are a residential program for girls between the ages of 13 and 17 who suffer with substance abuse issues. And as an aftercare coordinator, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm shaking. As an aftercare coordinator, what I do is I basically connect all the girls with services, support services for after they leave when they're going to be discharged back into the community. So that way they have some kind of services. I connect them with like the recovery high schools, I connect them with outpatient providers, psychiatric services, therapeutic mentoring, in-home therapists, and AA meetings, like pretty much everything, so that they have like services for after. And I feel like I'm running into one of major problems. The first problem I'm running into is I feel like I have a lot of girls who are like 16 and 17, and they have kind of, you know, this is not their first time there. They've tried going home, they've relapsed, they've come back. They've tried other programs, they've relapsed, they come back. And I feel like for some of these girls, like, they feel like their last kind of option is like MAT, but I can't find any providers who are willing to like administer MAT to like someone who's 17 or 16. So like, what kind of like advice or services do you know of, or like anything that could be helpful?
I just want to say to people who don't know, MAT is language for medically assisted treatment. So with many diseases, part of getting better is to change your lifestyle and to move and to meet new people and erase all the numbers on your cell phone and have your parents control your bank account, all the other complicated things we do. But the data that looks at using, whether it's methadone or buprenorphine, also known as Suboxone, sometimes Vivitrol can be helpful. That's a long-acting shot. The rates of recovery with those are substantially larger than not doing anything. So the rates of being able to maintain sobriety with buprenorphine are range between 50 and 60%. With methadone, which we've had since the 1970s, it's closer to 60%. I'm pretty ambivalent about Vivitrol because I've been using a lot of it and not seeing great effect. So her query is like, how can we find treatment providers to take care of, really, that is the highest risk population. The 18 and younger, I hate to say I get a little heart drop when they walk into my office, but that is my highest risk population because they're sort of, in terms of brain development, they're like, I'm fine, I'm feeling good, I'm way smarter on this drug, like things are way better, and I have such a hard time getting traction. So first of all, we need more treatment providers everywhere. Every single county out there needs dozens and dozens of people who can step up to the plate and help anybody. The notion that in medical school, I went to a very expensive medical school and residency, I learned almost nothing about addiction. A disease that affects 10% of Americans, and I learned nothing. How is that happening? Right? I mean, the reason I have 2 medical students with me is because they get to learn about addiction working with me. And I'm desperate to bring more students out to actually learn about it. So first of all, we have to reform medical school training and residency training and mandate that everybody learns about this and acknowledges, what magic addiction fairy do you think is going to come take care of people? It's actually your job, my friend. You're a primary care doctor or psychiatrist. Learn what you need to learn. So there's, you know, what we don't know about treating the adolescents is that nothing works very well. So I go to giant conferences and we're all like, is anybody finding anything that's actually helping? And we're like, not really, right? It just isn't working. So I treat whomever walks in my door. By federal guidance, you can't use methadone under the age of 18. There's no room on that one. But I use buprenorphine and naltrexone in any age that somebody is sick, and I pray that it works. And if it doesn't work now, I just feel like, and I say it to people, I am just trying to keep you alive, my friend. I'm trying to keep you alive till you get to 21. Because when somebody gets to 21 or 23, or that magic age for me of 24 and 25, the chance of something working is so much better. And so the notion that illicit diet at 20, like, I mean, that's the hardest age. And you know what? If those kids had cancer, they would be getting millions of dollars of care. Millions. We would say these are the sickest people in our society, and we need to pack them up and move them to a safe, sober, structured, loving, highly therapeutic, not boot camp, somewhere in some rural setting where they can't have access to their old friends, and people in this room would help run it. People at this table, we'd have the best people there. It would be the highly regulated, but great. That is where those kids should go. They need that. And instead, we offer them nothing. So I'm appalled by what you say. Having said that, I'm never convinced that those solutions alone are going to work. It's one small tool in a toolbox that doesn't have a lot of things that are working. I don't know if other people have had similar experience with these very young people. It's very challenging.
right off. So once again, so I actually worked for the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services under a SAMHSA grant for a short period of time, and the grant was all about expanding ACRA and medicated assisted treatment services to young adults and youth. And so hopefully soon there should be a lot more providers for young adults in the state of Massachusetts. And the other piece that you were talking about was the living situation. You have a question?
ACRA, that sounds familiar. What does it?
Yeah, ACRA is a home-based therapy for so it's pretty much, I equate it to like recovery coaching, except for young adults in a more clinical, with more oversight and more clinical approach, you know. That's pretty much it. But yeah, and then the other piece that you were talking about, the housing, in that grant, my job was to set up a consumer advisory board for young adults throughout the state of Massachusetts, and a lot of the disparities in the system that we found were just like you were talking about. The home environment isn't safe. These children are still in school, can't afford an apartment. What do? You know, there's no long-term sober apartments or sober houses for under 18, you know, so then once again we deal with, let's go to an adult sober home, but we know those aren't developmentally appropriate for young adults or youth, you know, so where do we put these kids? And that's a huge struggle that's all over the state right now. And once again, like these services, like Marianne said, we got to use our voice, we got to advocate for this stuff, we need more of it, you know, and they need to know that we need more of it, you know, but right now the services are lacking. But I know for a fact that when I left the state, medicated assisted treatment, they were working on expanding the providers throughout Massachusetts around that specific thing, youth and young adults.
Yeah, because I feel like I feel like I'm always like calling all these places and they're just either not answering me or they don't have any services, and like I feel like the Highland Grace House is the only one I know of that's a girl's house that's under 18. And then I know for boys, there's Leahy and there's two others, but those two I was under the impression got shut down or closed, or they were supposed to move and then something happened.
They have RFRs. They just awarded 2 new RFRs for, I believe, one a female residential and one a male residential throughout Massachusetts. And all I can say is that, Grace House is managed by a lady from the state, and I would contact her about finding providers. Because I know there are some out there, and she'd best be able to like pinpoint like who's in your area and what they can do for you. And I would get in contact with them. I mean, the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services, among many things, they're an awesome resource, and I found that out that the state of Massachusetts, we don't really want to give them as much credit, but they actually do know a decent amount of information, evidence-based practices, different services available to people, and there's have you ever heard of the hotline? It's not the hotline, the central intake. So it's for young adults, and I think they have medicated assisted treatment providers on there as well. So I might check that out. I don't know, honestly.
Thank you. And the next question I had is, how can we encourage parents to support their children when they have their own stigmas or they have their own substance abuse issues? Because I run into that a lot too.
Well, for me, I have to say that being educated was huge, and I think the more that we talk about it, just like any other disease, the more you talk about it, the more information you give, I think the more people are aware. I have to say that groups like Learn to Cope, huge. The founder, Julianne Peterson, who started, is an amazing advocate for families, and they're all over the state. You can go to their website, learntocope.org, and get connected with peers, because peers, whether it's for somebody who's in recovery or parents who are in recovery, is I think an incredible resource. And I know I used it myself, so that would be a resource that I would think.
I would also add to it, in our state too, there is another, Learn to Cope is marvelous, and there's another one that you can go to their website, and it's AIR, A-I-R, I believe it is, and they use something called CRAFT, and I can't tell you what it stands for, but it helps parents to talk with their children about their behavior versus the act-react that sometimes you just can't help, but if you're getting help and support, just as we want our children to change, we need to make some changes too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
My name is Donald, and I am also recovering from addiction myself. And what a great presentation, first of all, because I feel like I could go teach that. So when you hear somebody that knows somebody pretty well, but I don't know if I'll do as good a job as you. So I guess I got a question and then a kind of a statement. So Massachusetts is trying to do a lot right now with the care. Governor Baker has just signed on with Massachusetts Mass Sober Housing and coalitions of trying to regulate sober houses in the industry and trying to find the standards of living to try to raise, first of all, the awareness that they're coming to the conclusion and realizing that aftercare is so big and so huge. One of the biggest things that I realized is that the first step for me to realize in my recovery was to realize that I was powerless over my addiction, but then my life was unmanageable. And it just blows my mind that we will treat these people in 14 days and then release them and say they're able to live a productive life and make good decisions and sound judgment. It just blows my mind that we still continue to look at things that way. So first of all, I mean, I know it seems like it's very depressing at times when we're coming here, but we are making strides as a community. I've been to 3 of these events in the last month and a half. It's absolutely mind-boggling that people still don't come out and don't realize how much effort is really happening behind the scenes. Thank you for all your work and just continuing to tell people, hey, we do have a voice. So one of my questions is, Kyle, when you were going through a recovery, did you do any aftercare? Were you involved in any sober housing?
So I actually, I went straight from incarceration. I went from Worcester House and Corrections to the Salvation Army, which is a long-term residential program with like a step-down model. So we started at phase 1 where you would have no 21 days locked in. So you had no phone calls, no nothing. You weren't able to any visits. You weren't able to leave the facility. And they did a lot of like Bible studies and then like hard labor. And yeah, and you worked every day, and so I did that. I was there for 8.5 months, and I worked all my way up to graduation, and then when I went home, I moved back to my parents' house, and I was able to set up that foundation. You know, long-term residential programs work. That's my experience, and I'm seeing that across the state, like you were just talking about. And I mean, like you said, I think it's absurd. Like, I was released from jail 3 times in 1 year, and every single time I relapsed and I went back to jail. You know, not until the last time did the judge say, like, hey, you need help, you need to go to a residential program. And I was still like, I don't know about that, you know, and she forced me to, and it turns out it's what saved my life, you know, and I don't understand why we don't have more emphasis on that type of stuff, like you said.
So the reason I wanted to ask him that is it's so huge that people do not understand or realize that in these sober housings, it's important if you're going to put your child or somebody into these sober homes, that you do the homework, that you investigate the house. Don't be afraid to go to the house and check it out. Find out what people are saying about it. And the good thing about what MASH is doing in the regulation is that you can go onto the website, it's mash.org. You can go onto this facility and see all the registered houses that are certified and state inspected. They do quality control, the amount of beds per house, Narcan training, the clients in the house are aware of their rights and how to file complaints with MASH and have the houses inspected. So this is also a lot of, you're going to have this right now. They I think believe on the website they have about 45 to 50 houses that just got registered since January, which is really exciting. I know they're aggressively moving forward with it, but it is pushing those out that don't want to regulate. So if you're interested in doing that, check out the website, find those sober houses. They are safe, and it is part of the continuing care that after treatment, we put them in these positive environments that we change, and I believe that these are conducive environments that change their behavior, because that's the biggest thing, is getting them involved. Getting them to their doctors is huge. For the front of the person, you'd be surprised if you meet somebody they haven't been to the doctor in 4 years. So, you know, get them to the doctor, get them to walk through some of those fears is probably the biggest things that we do. So, thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for all the hard work you guys are doing. Thank you.
Okay, it's 1 minute of. If somebody has a short question. Yes? So this will be the last question that we'll have the panel answer.
So in regards to shattering the stigma, and I've confronted this a few times, I train people on how to use Narcan, emergency response and such. When somebody says to you, why bother? Why are we helping them? Why are we training them? why are we training people to help them? We all know the things we want to say. Those are the things we say in our head. But what are the diplomatic go-tos? What is your go-to line?
Why not? I mean, that person could be the next Rembrandt. That person could be the next Einstein. That person could be the next president. You know, why not?
Yeah, I mean, everybody uses that common one of somebody who's dead will never get recovery, right? These people are ill and they need attention brought to them. This is a life-saving thing that belongs in every patrol car, in every school nurse's office. Most of us in the room would nod our head and agree with that. But boy, we get public pushback from police chiefs and fire chiefs all across this great Commonwealth. And again, imagine the way it is in the rest of the country. That Southeast is not putting Narcan in their patrol cars. But again, if we begin denying care to all the other people out there who are making not such great choices about their overall health, boy, we would reduce the cost of American medicine dramatically, right? We could just cut everybody off, because the vast majority of us in this room are making some healthcare decisions about our own well-being that isn't quite right. We are. I mean, we're sitting here tonight, we should all be out walking right now, right? But my point is that why differentiate any chronic medical condition and say, I'm not going to give you that. You're a little hypoglycemic right now? Well, you could just hit the ground, my friend. I'm not giving you a little sugar tablet. Good luck to you, right? It's the equivalent to that. For me, it's just normalizing this as a disease and really calling people out who see it any other way.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank our panelists, Marianne Frangulis from Mass Organization of Addiction Recovery, who has a resource table up there with a little bit of information that you might pick up. A lot of the legislation that we have experienced, more has been at the forefront of it in advocacy. And they have a booklet out there that will serve as a resource for years to come. Michelle Dunn of the A.E.D Foundation also has a table out there, and you have a little stand sheet, don't you?
Maybe.
So grab her card, give her information. That's a resource for the community. And Kyle Woon, one of the outspoken advocates for recovery that we have in Central Mass. He is one of our treasurers, and if you want to have him speak to your groups, and I'm assuming that that's okay with you, Mr.
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Then get his information, or if you miss him, contact me and I will forward you his contact information. And Dr. Ruth Poti, who is our neighbor, lives in the community down in Greenfield. Don't forget her YouTube. Check her out. You'll be glad you did. And yes, and so we have Shatter the Stigma t-shirts in different sizes, and there's a sign-in sheet for those that want the PowerPoint presentation. I want to thank you for taking the time to come out tonight. I see that this is important to you as it is to us. So good night. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy George. I'm with Spectrum Health Systems and New England Recovery Center. We provide services to individuals with substance use disorders throughout Massachusetts. We have 11 outpatient sites as well as several inpatient sites in Westboro, Massachusetts and in Weymouth. We're able to serve any individual, from people that have no health insurance to individuals that have private insurance. At the New England Recovery Center, we're in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we have all levels of care. So we have detoxification services, inpatient, we have a young adult program, and residential level care as well.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jean. This is Lisa, and this is Angela, and we're from Learn to Cope. And it's a support group for families with siblings, family members, spouses that are struggling with addiction or in recovery.
It's just a place to meet with other people going through the same thing so that we can bounce ideas off of each other, get educated, and try to help our loved ones.
We have professionals that come in. We meet weekly Monday through Thursday nights in different towns. There's 22 chapters in Massachusetts, and we have professionals that come in to give us education, or people that are in long-term recovery to speak to us. And then other nights are open meetings where we sit and have just open group discussions.
And thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nice try.
I'll send you.
Hi, I'm Paul Richard, Executive Director of the SHINE Initiative. Our mission is to recognize mental illness in children and young adults as a mainstream health issue. We're here this evening because we also understand and recognize that for many young people and people of all ages, addiction begins with self-medication due to untreated, undiagnosed mental illness. If anyone would like to know more about get the facts, know more about the SHINE Initiative, to collaborate with us in any way, please reach out to us at www.shineinitiative.org or call us at 978-870-1494. You're welcome.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dave Dunn, and I'm with Jackie Rosario, correct? Yes, okay. And we're here tonight to help promote Alyssa's Place, which was opened 3 years ago from the loss of my daughter, who died of an opiate overdose. We're also here to support the A.E.D Foundation, which was established by myself and my wife 3 years ago to help those who are in recovery or need help. We offer services 3 nights a week in Gardner, and we're here to help peer support as well as families with direction and education as well. So we're glad to be here tonight to help support those that are in addiction, and anything we can do, that's what we're here to do. Yep, you can go to our website. We also have a telephone number, and it's www.aedfoundationinc.org. Telephone number is 978-364-0920. Thank you.
All right, my name is Jennifer Davis. I'm here from Health Alliance's CHART program with Tamara Perini, one of our social workers and lead navigators. We work with patients who present to the emergency department who are living with either mental illness or substance abuse. We work with patients post-discharge, connecting them to needed outpatient services such as providers, both primary care and behavioral health. We also assist with housing benefits and entitlements applications, and really just working with setting goals for patients and working towards those goals. We work with anybody who presents to the emergency department, and we can be contacted via telephone 978-798-3350, and we look forward to working with any patients struggling with those issues.
Thank you. All right. Hi, I'm Kate Toomey, the Community Service Representative for A.E.D Care Hospital for Central Massachusetts. A.E.D Care has been in existence for over 40 years, privately owned by the Hillis family, and has become an expert in alcohol and drug rehabilitation. In our hospital in Worcester, we have detox and recovery, and we have across the street a outpatient program that's open 365 days a year, from 7:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night, Monday through Friday, and until 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. This is a wonderful opportunity for folks to be able to do intensive outpatient, a day treatment program, or 6 hours a day, and a number of group programming and counseling sessions. We have 36 master's level clinicians that are available at all times. We have a wonderful parenting program. We have a free educational program for those folks who are just trying to wrap their hands around what addiction is and how it's affecting their family. The second Wednesday of the month, it's at 95 Lincoln Street at 5 o'clock, and the fourth Wednesday of the month at 95 Lincoln Street at 6 o'clock. It is a wonderful program, and it's about an hour and a half, and it's totally free. So if you have any questions, please come down to that facility and utilize that wonderful free program. We also have a great parenting program for those who are trying to reconnect with their children. Those folks who are addicted to either drugs or alcohol, that have been separated from their children. It's a great program. We've been working with a lot of different agencies, and we get referrals. It's a 12-week program, rolling admission. One other thing I'd like to mention about our intensive outpatient program at AdCare is that we will provide transportation throughout Worcester County. I know that tends to be a barrier for folks who want to go into intensive outpatient, but we found a way to be able to provide transportation. So if you can come down and get an assessment, please feel free to call. Call me if you'd like, 774-641-5499, or we also www.adcare.com or 1-800-ALCOHOL. If you're looking for a detox or for outpatient, that's the number that you can use. That's 1-800-ALCOHOL. We look forward to hopefully helping you and all your family members, and please consider AdCare as your source. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Cardinal. I'm a substance abuse counselor at Pathway House in Gardner, Massachusetts, for adult males 21 years of age and older. Our location is 171 Graham Street, Gardner, Mass. 01440. Phone number 978-632-4574. We also provide additional services afterwards for supportive housing, case management services.
Okay. Hi, I'm Quinn Rollo. I'm from Luck Incorporated out of Fitchburg. We also have offices in in Worcester as well as Webster and Lowell. We provide a number of different services, and myself and Lisa Pinio are both clinicians in our behavioral health services, which serve those who are struggling with mental health issues as well as those who have substance abuse difficulties. And we're here to promote the variety of services that we have that range from outpatient counseling all the way to in-home intensive family therapy and all sorts of varieties in between. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Oh, Mike, sorry. So like Quinn said, we have our outpatient program, our outpatient services. We also have the CLEAR program, which is home-based services, ages 12 to 25. We do substance abuse treatment for that population in the home for about 3 to 6 months. And we also do a lot of trauma work. We have a trauma center at Luck, so we provide that, a lot of evidence-based models that our clinicians are trained to do. And then there is one more. And then we have, like what Quinn said, the intensive home-based family therapy that we do. And in order to make a referral, if you're interested in counseling, you'd contact our referral coordinator, and the direct number is 978-829-2312. I think that's it. And our website's www.luck.org. Thank you. Yep.
We're here from District Attorney Joseph D. Early Jr.'s office. We have our regular table that has lots of our prevention and intervention information, but we also are here with our Hidden in Plain Sight display. Hidden in Plain Sight is a display that shows parents where drug paraphernalia could be, and also shows them some common household items that kids could be using for drug paraphernalia. So Jill's going to show us a few of the things that can be easily purchased on the internet.
This is a false bottom Pringles can. It looks and sounds like a regular Pringles can. This looks like a regular water bottle, but it's not. You can hide things in there. This was all bought off the internet.
This is a regular Mentos jar or container that we bought. Could easily hold drugs, joints, all kinds of stuff could fit inside there. We also have a bracelet. This looks like a macrame bracelet. It actually unclasps and turns into a pipe. And we also have some common household items like Q-tips, foil, spoons, candles, and things like that. Those are common household items that kids could be using to use drugs as well. We have things like the book Safe, which is a book that's cut out in the middle so kids can hide things. Then we have other common items like a tissue box that kids can hide all kinds of stuff in as well. So this is a mobile unit. There's a fuller one at the Natick Mall that's a whole room, but this is something that we take to all these different events to kind of give parents some ideas about what kids could actually have in their rooms that they wouldn't even notice. Basically, that would be hidden in plain sight. Great.
How clever you are.
We did not think of that. We wish we did, but we did not. But we went to a training. Well, someone did.
Hi, my name is Zachary Adams. I'm Tom McGregor, and we are both members of the Crossing Over Sober House in Fitchburg, Mass., located on Mount Vernon Street. It's right downtown, so it's a very good location for all the events that are going on around us. We have a market basket down the street, CVS and stores around the area, laundromats all over the place. So it's a very good location to go down and get things done if we need to. Transportation's right around the corner. What we do in the Sober House is we are required to do at least 5 to 7 meetings a week, and we are a Christian program, so we do go to church. We have Bible studies in the house on Thursday nights. We also go to Townsend to do AA meetings. We have NA meetings in Littleton as well that we can go to if we'd like. And then everybody in the house either has a job and works, or they do a recovery program during the day. We have a house pet, which she's really cute, so come check her out if you want. What we do, we also 6 beds in the program, so they're full right now, but there's a really good chemistry in the house. And what our objective is to cross over from the life that we had before and cross over and transform our lives into a new life of recovery and addiction free. So we do find God in this program. We work the 12 steps, and we also have individual counseling on every Sunday with the director or the house manager. The director's name is Donald Flagg, and he comes over the house maybe 3 or 4 times a week to help coach us through whatever we need to go through, or to just talk to us one-on-one and see what's going on in our lives. But yeah, other than that, anything you want to add?
Just that it is a very structured program, and it helps you keep your mind where it needs to be on doing the right thing.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, I'm Hillary Amity, and this is my coworker, Beth Roger. We work for LUCK, which stands for Let Us Know. The main office is in Fitchburg, and we have offices in Worcester, Webster, and Lowell as well. We run the youth mentoring program, which serves kids ages 6 to 17 living in Central Mass. And we provide volunteer role models to kind of help kids get in the right direction, give them some extra support, introduce them to some new activities, and just give them somebody else to talk to, because sometimes kids won't share with their parents, but they might share with another adult. We're always looking for volunteer mentors. We have over 100 kids on our wait list throughout Central Mass, so we especially need male mentors. We get more boys referred than girls, and we get more women that volunteer than men. So we are looking for plenty of male mentors. You can reach us by going to www.luck.org/mentoring, or you can call 1-800-579-0000 and ask for youth mentoring services.
All right, my name is Ryan Scott. I represent TLP, which is Transitional Living Program for Luck Crisis Center. First question we always get is, what does LUCK stand for? And that is let us know. Second would be, what are the services we have? Well, for this right now, we have our young parent support group for single parents, young parents in general. We have our outreach through our Father's House, who we partner with as well, to engage with homeless youth, really anyone of any age. One of our main things that we do over here is we are case managers. We basically help them to connect with various social services. It's a big maze to navigate, and we like to give them those tools to navigate them, give them another voice, a little more representation, and hopefully by the time they come to us, they will have the proper skill sets, they will have more information, they can help others. That's the aim. Keep them off the street, keep them engaged, keep them happy, and hopefully give somebody a second chance. Sure. If you want to reach me, you can reach me directly at 978-829-2348. You can email me at rscott@luck.org. That's rscott@luck.org. Or you can visit www.luck.org and send off an email. Thank you very much.